still feeling you. I'm still feeling you.
I'm Tema. I'm the singer for Couch. I do some songwriting, and we are a soul pop funk band based out of Boston.
I'm Zach. I am the guitarist and sometimes bassist in Couch.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared and I'm the drummer for the band.
Hey guys, my name is Eric and I play saxophone and sing some background vocals for Couch.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey. I play the trumpet and occasionally the trombone. And there are two other members here who could not make it to this meeting. One is Will, who plays the bass, and the other one is Danny, who plays the keyboard.
Right on. Well, very nice to meet the big family that is Couch. Thanks for joining me on this episode from the Inbox Podcast. First question, because your band is such a large group, how did you guys come together? How did you guys get 7 misfits all together?
We were all born at the same hospital on the same day.
That's amazing. Wow. Twins.
So a few of us were in a band together in high school, and we started recording our first single, the Nana song, with that group. But when that group split up for college, we ended up having some people hop in, like Eric knew Jeffrey from jazz band. He hopped in and did some saxophone stuff. I met Tema at a concert, and she ended up singing some background vocals. And I go to college with Jared, so he ended up hopping on drums for some of our more recent stuff. And song by song, we just started to solidify the group until it's who you see here and those 2 people.
Right on. And did you say new Jeffrey?
Did I say new?
I heard new Jeffrey.
I knew Jeffrey.
Oh, you knew Jeffrey.
Not
Okay.
Not old and new.
Yeah, I thought he got replaced or something. That's funny. And I feel like you guys are going to get this question a lot moving forward as you guys get bigger and bigger. But how did you decide on the name Couch?
So the summer we were recording that first single, I got a concussion on my first day of work that summer. And we ended up recording and writing the majority of our music and hanging out just in the dark in my basement, sitting on a couch, because I couldn't be around loud noises or in any light, really. So we just hung on the couch, and that's how it happened.
Are you embarrassed about the story of how you got concussed? Can I ask?
You tell him.
So it was my first day of work. I was going to be a music counselor at a day camp. I was excited to go, and so sprung out of bed, ran down my stairs, and there's a ledge. So if you're running down the stairs, there's an overhang. And I always jump down my stairs. When there's 4 or 5 stairs left, I just jump to the bottom. I jumped, I smacked my head on the thing, fell back, hit the back of my head. Drove to work that day, worked the full day, played a gig that night, and then woke up the next morning and could barely open my eyes. And
wow.
50 minutes later, sitting in the dark.
Now, Zach, is that the same concussion that you had when we went to that show?
Yes.
So the concussion was so bad that the following, I guess the fall, we went to a concert here in DC, and Zach had to bring like a Pedialyte with him just in case he was gonna like pass out.
Oh
So
God.
it was that bad, but it didn't stop him from going to the concerts. And that was fairly new in our like a new stage in our friendship. So it was yeah.
Yeah. Was that like a really interesting first impression for you guys? Being like, wow, this Zach guy is nuts.
Jared, you should tell him how I saw you the first time.
Yeah, so Zach and I, as he said earlier, we go to the same college. I as a freshman, I was practicing in a drum room by myself, and I don't know, I had like this urge to look at the door, and I look at the door, and there's this kid just like peering in the door, and it was Zach, and it just scared the living life out of me. It was terrifying. It was a great foreshadowing of our weird friendship. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, he does have pretty menacing eyebrows. I could see that being a thing for
Oh,
sure.
You're telling me. Imagine that going in your eye.
Yeah, with all the shadows. That's so funny. And so the other interesting fact about you guys as a band is not only are you a big band, but you guys are also pretty long distance because most of you guys are in school, different colleges and whatnot. How has that been as a challenge for you guys overall, just keeping the flow and momentum going?
It's definitely a challenge. I think so far we've just kind of had spurts of productivity when we do have the chance to be together. Earlier on, before the pandemic, it was just like when we were home on break. Often there would be kind of one song that got fully created like with each time we were home. We would just grind. Since the pandemic, we've had a couple of chances for subsets of us to quarantine together in various places, but there's still a lot of virtual recording and writing. So um, a lot of the time, like I'll send over a project session that has, for example, when we track horns, like I'll record my sax parts and then send over to Jeffrey, and he'll record trumpet over my sax for his parts. And it's a roundabout method that is frustrating often. And, there's no opportunity for that spontaneous like live feedback from each other. So, it impacts our sound too, but we've made do as best we can. And hopefully, hopefully it keeps working for us. Tema
Yeah.
is the season. Tema and Zach have been writing together for a while now too, virtually. You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're lucky in that regard. Some bands who had really frequent rehearsal processes and would write live together um, and record in a studio had to kind of recalibrate, but that was our norm. So like Easy to Love, Fall into Place, Zach and I began writing while we were in Chicago and DC, and we would send each other voice memos of lyric ideas or chord ideas, and then FaceTime and sing over the voice memos that we'd sent to each other. And then, like Eric was saying, once we were home on breaks was when the group got together and recorded. So we were prepared writing wise, and recording wise. We were already doing it ourselves with our own equipment out of our own homes. So the adjustment during the pandemic has just been that you're doing it alone, which for me is a bummer. Like I think we've made it work, but I have to like sit down in my closet for a recording session and like hype myself up and like do a dance and be like get in the zone because I don't have band members there giving me enthusiasm and feedback and whatnot.
Yeah, you guys should just get like a loop video of every one of you just overlap each other, just cheering each other on while you're recording in your closets or something. But that's great that you guys were able to kind of make things work, because one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk with all of you is because your new EP, it's self-titled, right? New EP, Couch, the EP just came out on Friday, and 5 tracks, phenomenal soul funk music, and it doesn't sound like you guys were in separate cities, let alone having to break up the recording process, which is awesome. And a lot of that had to do with the amount of support you guys got from the community. I know you guys did a Kickstarter campaign, which is really, really great idea. And I just want to ask, how does it feel to have such a supportive community helping you guys, back you guys up on this Kickstarter campaign?
It feels really wonderful. Like we, I think we will touch on this later, but we've developed our following mostly through social media. Since we've been long distance, we haven't really been able to play a ton of gigs. And so for a while, I think we just assumed that everybody following us and supporting us through social media was already a friend or a family member. And we've come to find that we've gathered up a lot of strangers who are really here for the music and for the community, and they rallied behind us and helped us fund the Kickstarter, and helped us finish this project that we were like pulling out of our own pockets to cover. So it's just like heartwarming and exciting.
I'm still, every time I kind of step back and think about how many people are so enthusiastic and supportive about Couch, it just blows my mind. Like, I'm like, how did they even find us? Like we just put music out into the void, and like people, I guess it's resonating with people, which is really awesome. But it's just, I'm looking forward to performing and like building our fan base in a way that is more traditional for bands, because I'm just very encouraged by the enthusiasm we've seen so far, even with a notable absence of like live performance opportunities.
Yeah, and that's pretty impressive too because I was looking at your Kickstarter page, and I think you guys met your goal and then exceeded it by like almost $2,000 or something, which is amazing for an indie band. So kudos to you guys for sure, for keeping that going. And one of the fun things about your Kickstarter campaign was you guys were doing really cool shout outs, which you guys also gave one out to me, which was really fun. I think mine was, who was it that jumped out of the dumpster?
It
That
was
was
Will.
it was Will. Oh, he's not here. I can't say thanks to him. But yeah, that was great. How did you guys like, was there like a planning process for coming up with these shout outs? Did you guys just kind of go with it?
We had a lot of conversations on what we wanted to do when it came to rewards and how to really thank people for, I mean, for donating, which, I mean, to us was just like, who would have known that people are going to give us money? Like, why, I don't, I just, it never thought that we would reach the goal and and some. But when it came to the rewards, I mean, we definitely wanted to put some kind of, little bit of our flavor into it and make it kind of unique to us. Because, we can send someone a t-shirt, we can do all these things, but one thing that we wanted to do was to do specifically like the Instagram shout outs, and that was something that we were able to put our own sense of humor into. And I mean, we had I think we had, like, yeah, as you said, Will was jumped out of a garbage can. We had Zach taking a shower in his clothes, and a bunch of different things, which they're still on our Instagram. If anyone wants to see the highlights, you can see them on our Instagram. But we definitely wanted to do. I think we also had a reward if someone fulfilled fulfilled the Kickstarter in one donation. We had we had a reward in which we would send them a Cheerio, and it would be a Honey Nut Cheerio, just one. Because that's what we wanted to do. So we were able to put our sense of humor and kind of our fun energy into it, which was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any personal favorites from you guys that you just loved doing? Or I know my personal one, I think somebody had dumped a bunch of milk onto the table or something. That one, I don't know why that was so funny, but I still get a chuckle out of it.
It was Will. He put
I gotta meet this Will guy. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know. He put Cheerios down and then a bowl on top of it, and then just dumped milk onto the counter, and then sent us a video afterwards of him with like this puddle of milk on his kitchen floor, which Instagram did not get to see.
Yeah.
That was a good one. One of my favorites was Danny, our keyboard player, who's not here, did like a little episode called "Is It Gelt?" Which, for anyone who doesn't know, gelt is chocolate that looks like a coin. It is of the Jewish tradition. You play dreidel on Hanukkah and you get gelt. So he did a segment on that, and I won't spoil it. You should go look at the Kickstarter shout out highlight on our page to see if it is gelt or not.
You guys could probably even start like a whole YouTube series on is it gelt, gelt or not. I guess I was trying to think of something punny there, but yeah. And I wanted, so speaking of social media, how obviously it's been a very helpful tool, and how have you guys been able to kind of like, what are you guys doing to make sure you guys are putting yourselves out there more and ensuring that return on investment, I guess, with social media?
Well, the nice thing about social media is that the investment is really just it's your time and energy. It's not like we put on a Kickstarter and we chose rewards strategically that didn't cost us that much because we had to have a Kickstarter in the first place. Like, we're an independent band. So social media is nice because if you have the time and energy, you don't need to sacrifice anything financially. So it's really just been about like keeping to a schedule, staying disciplined with our own post scheduling, and trying to come up with engaging content for people. Recently we fired up the TikTok just because it's like you can't not be on TikTok as a musician these days, and many people realized that before we did, but we're a little late to the party, but we're here nonetheless. And so we've been trying to stick to generally one a day leading up to this recent release, which is like, we just run out of ideas, and we have a Slack channel, and we just like drop ideas there and try to come up with stuff. But it's more about like the consistency of posting a lot and trying to stay genuine in what we do put out there, because I think it's such an oversaturated internet culture that if you can really just be yourself and not try to sell things to people all the time. That tends to make people feel good, and yeah, and it's good for us, and it's good for them to be just a little genuine and honest with everything.
Yeah, it's a really important thing for, indie artists and bands starting out too, is just being able to be comfortable in who you are as a band and as a group, and being able to execute it so people can kind of, relate to that and find some connection with you. And you guys obviously are doing a fantastic job, which is great. Yeah, I think I follow you guys on TikTok now too. It's such a weird platform. Like, I don't know. It's so unpredictable sometimes, but it's fun and entertaining.
To build off of what Eric was saying though, also like one thing in addition to like just putting out a lot of content is to like have content that our audience like would actually want to interact with, partially because it's really fun for us, but also because it's fun for the audience. Like just recently we did the Black Bear Lane challenge, where we took out the saxophone solo that Eric took on Black Bear Lane, but we left the backtrack and then put that on Instagram and TikTok and said, hey, record yourself taking a solo over this, whether you're like a rapper, singer, or an instrumentalist or something. And we got, I don't know at this point, we've probably got like 100 submissions, and they're all, like most of them are really good. Some of them are like really, really special. And then that's just like super fun. We've like tried to incorporate our fans into like our music in that way. We've done some other just fun stuff, like over the winter break, we had a cup pong tournament, and I think we had 60 or so people participate in that, all fans. We had like a finals on a Zoom call where everyone could join and see how it was going, and that was really fun.
Wow, yeah, that's oh yeah, and that's the other thing too about that Black Bear Lane challenge thing too, is I remember you guys started using the hashtag BBL challenge, and to your surprise, that did not stand for Black Bear Lane challenge. It was, what was it again? Brazilian butt lift challenge.
Yep.
Yes,
Story
it's
behind that.
totally
Because,
on
like,
brand.
We posted the first video with like, everybody use hashtag BBL challenge, and then maybe like 2 minutes later, I think Eric sent a screenshot to our group chat of the page with all these videos of like people exercising and like their butts, and he's just like, oops.
Oops. Yeah, that's
This
gonna
was,
be
like,
entertaining for people scrolling through.
Shouldn't have been surprised, because like while you're working on the songs, we often have just like the little like initialism, so it's like just quicker to type it out. Like the whole time we type like, oh yeah, like where's like what's the most updated version of BBL? And then anytime this happened, Will and I would text each other with like a new thing of what BBL stood for, other than Black Bear Lane. And I would be lying if we didn't have something similar to Brazilian butt lift before that.
Anything that you can, or you're willing to mention? Should I even ask?
No.
Say no. You can say no comment. Yeah, I was gonna say. My head's already going to some interesting spots, so don't worry. But no, that's fun. See, like little things like that it's super important as a young band starting out. So that's great. And this EP, I noticed actually on your Kickstarter too, you guys gave like a shout out to the spot called Tango Mango, which I'm not familiar with. I haven't really done a lot of eating in Boston, but I'm guessing it's like a taco joint or something, right?
Exactly. It's our local Chipotle.
Oh, nice. And you guys just hang out there? Like, why? What was the? Why'd you guys give a thank you to it? Is anything special behind it, or?
Yeah, man, it's the post-rehearsal, post-recording session spot. We're feeling stressed or we need to take a break. We go grab a few burritos and sit in there and just vibe out.
This episode brought to you by Tango Mango. Right on. Yeah.
Ended our photo shoot with some shots there of us inside.
I do remember one. I saw one, and I think it's such a great picture of all you guys. So that makes sense.
As well as the music video. Our first music video for the Nana song ends with us dancing with one of the employees of the restaurant.
Oh, nice. You still talk to that employee, or?
Louise, shout out to Louise.
There you go. That's
So
cool.
if Tango Mango is looking like sponsor a band or endorse a band, we are available.
Other cool things you guys are doing or have done is a drive-through performance last summer, which was kind of a spontaneous reaction to COVID's limitations. And I guess kind of just walk us through, how did that kind of come to be? Do you guys plan on maybe doing something similar this summer if things don't really go positively?
It was pretty sick. We didn't go into the summer knowing that we were going to do that. We just were hungry to perform, and there weren't really any safe ways for us to do that because the pandemic was still very new. But I had a family friend who also organizes a lot of artistic endeavors around the city. And I knew that he was trying to organize some drive-in movies in a local parking lot. And I asked him if he thought we could do a concert. So he was right on board and helped us set it up. And I mean, not helped us, I mean, he set it up. Came up with the idea that those of us who would be performing would be standing on individual pickup truck beds so that we could be safely elevated above the audience of cars, but also be 6 feet apart from each other. And it was awesome. I mean, it was bizarre at first looking out at a sea of like, I think there were maybe 100 cars or so there. But people were so happy. It was like their first live music experience in a while. And that still was present, even though we weren't looking at their faces.
Yeah, I guess you can't really see their expressions, but were they honking or applauding or anything? Could you hear that? Yeah. It must be so. It must be like feeling like you're in the Disney movie Cars or something, but I got lost. Yeah.
The hoods were smiling.
Yeah, that's important.
We tried to get in like a little audience participation on one of the songs. We had like a synchronized honking experiment that went pretty well, given how many cars there were. So shout out to all the participants there. You guys are all rhythmic gods.
Oh man, I could just imagine the neighbors are probably like, "Oh my God, why is everyone honking?" Anyone with hydraulics, any bouncing cars? That would be nice. That's a nice touch for next time. And let's say hypothetically that we can all go back to seeing live shows and you guys can tour and stuff like that. On your first official tour as Couch, where are some dream cities? Where do you guys want to go? Have you guys thought about this? Maybe some long night conversations?
Chernobyl.
I was not expecting that as an answer. Okay, fair. Yeah, maybe you probably get some interesting audience members for sure.
I want to play in Austin. I have a lot of family out in Austin in Texas. Austin, Texas is a great music city.
Yeah, it's a wicked city. It's one of the few major cities in the States I've been to, and I love Austin. So I'd go see you guys in Austin. That'd be sick.
Definitely want to play in Toronto just to meet you, Kane.
There we go. I was waiting for that. That is the right answer, Jared. That is awesome.
I also would like to just add, I mean, I think it's very likely that we'll play, the northeast of the US also, like as soon as we can, just because so many of us are from Boston and Jared's also from New York. So we'll probably hit Boston, New York City, maybe Providence, maybe Hartford. I don't know, wherever we can, honestly. And also I'm personally looking forward to hopefully hitting LA at some point too. There's a lot of great music there. Also, that's where our mixing engineer, Caleb Parker, lives. And we would love to meet him. Like we've never even met him, and we're like on Zooms with him going over Couch's music and tweaking things. So it'd be really cool to, actually work with him in person too.
Yeah, just, shake his hand. That's cool.
Meet his young child who was recently born.
Yeah, he just had a baby, and like part of the stress of finishing mixing our EP with him was like, oh God, like if his baby comes before we finish mixing the EP, we're not gonna have his full attention. We might not finish this on time. So we were like trying to get it in before his wife's due date. And then I think I can show you this because I think he'll have received it by then. We're sending him this as a thank you. It is
my God.
a baby onesie with the Couch logo.
That is adorable. Wow. That's great.
It's wonderful, and we wanted to say thank you. And
oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
And we had just wrapped up. The last song that we mixed from the EP was Stand Up, and we had just finished mixing it, and just a couple days later, his child was born. So we were thinking like maybe he would name it Stand Up in honor of us, but I think he went with something else. So
yeah.
we're a little bit sour. And it will definitely take a couple of years before we're on speaking terms again.
Did you pitch it to him like Stan, middle name Dup? Because that could also, like
Maybe
that.
it's not too late for a change.
Yeah, just get Stan in there somewhere, and that might actually work out for you guys. Who knows? Actually, speaking of stand up, because I know you guys predominantly, Tema has most of the vocal duties, but I noticed that there was somebody else singing on that track. Were you guys kind of, experimenting with different, lead vocalists and stuff too? Or because it sounds great. I'm not saying it's bad at all. That's not where I'm saying it this come from. It's awesome and it's very interesting. It just, caught me off guard, but in a good way. It's, it's interesting to see bands moving in different directions and stuff. But does anyone want to claim rights on that verse?
That was me. Yeah,
Right
I
on.
mean, Tema is an absolute beast of a lead vocalist. I'm not at all trying to step on her toes. We just thought it could be fun to mix it up and get it. Also, the song stand up, the kind of the concept we were going for of the end of a relationship, but like with positive vibes and actually kind of realizing that this is right for both parties. Really worked nicely for dual lead vocalists for that particular song. And Tem and I have sung together before on a project of mine. I did an a cappella mashup just independently
cool.
of the song Havana and the song Smooth. And we were like dual soloists on that. And the interplay between us worked nicely. So we thought we would try it out for couch stuff too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, I think that's a lot of great music comes from shitty experiences. So, at the very least, at least you guys got some good songs out of it. If anyone's, still grieving their breakups, but so the EP's opening track, "Still Feeling You," is a very fresh new sound. I must say, like you definitely talking about synthesizers and moving in a new direction, and kind of just walk us through, I guess, what the song's about and how kind of fits into your transition.
I think like story wise, this one might be the only song that was like, oh, let's write this story. Like it was less based on a specific person's experience. And yeah, we had this hook, this idea I think that Zach had of "I'm still feeling you," and we were like, what story can we write around that? So we pieced together kind of like a pop track, both musically but also lyrically, with this idea of like running into someone that you were previously involved with, and knowing that you're still interested in them, but having no reservations about declaring that.
Still Feeling You was a fun writing process. It was my first time being really involved in a writing process for a couch song. So we wrote it mostly on Tema's porch. I sort of hopped in after the initial idea existed and we crafted the rest of the song together. And we were also looking to, it was partly out of necessity that it turned out so poppy with like electronic drums and stuff, just by nature of not being together and sort of wanting to make progress without having, and Jared just wasn't even in the same state as us, and we didn't, yeah, it's just tough. So we ended up kind of going for this like Dua Lipa, Charlie Puth disco pop inspired sound, but still incorporating like our live horns and classic like stacked Tema harmonies, and it came together very organically. It was a new direction for. I'm excited about this release because it's our first very very danceable song. We've put out a lot of feel good like mid tempo music, and I'm hyped to have a song that people can just like jump around to.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun at live shows.
Oh yeah.
I think this is a really good question to kind of end things off with. Now that your first debut release is coming out, what does this EP mean to you guys? I know it's a bit of a big question, but
I think it's a jump into a more comfortable sound for us, and what we think is we're inching closer and closer and closer to our sound, and I think that's really important for us as a band. So that's something I'm really really excited about, is to just kind of showcase, the wide breadth of kind of musical styles that we can do, and kind of show what we're capable of, and it's really exciting for people to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like a lot of things to be said for like a first project or first like full-size project of any sort. To me, it's kind of symbolic of just like the increasing level of like seriousness, I guess, of the band. When it's just like a single here or there, it's like, oh, these are just like fun little side projects. But now it's like, okay, here's like something that we've actually put a lot of time and energy into, more so than just one individual track. And really with like a lot of thought, like present and future, about like what this will symbolize, I guess. So I don't know. To me, it's kind of deep.
Tema, you've spoken before about sort of like the general positive vibes of the EP. Like, just if you go through song by song, it's all pretty uplifting and good spirited. So that's something that I hadn't really thought about before until Tema brought it up in another interview we had, actually. But that's, the more I think about it, something that I'm like really happy is the case and proud of, especially like we're still in a pandemic and there's a lot of sad I mean, even just as an artist in general, it's so much easier a lot of the time to be inspired by hardship than it's difficult to make things that are happy that aren't corny. And I think we pulled it off with this one. It definitely makes me feel good. I'm definitely biased, but I think that's something that is unique about this collection of songs.
It wasn't like we went in with an intention to create an EP that was all optimistic messages, but I think naturally that came about, maybe due to like our individual natures, but also I think that this is everyone knows, like, this is a really challenging time. There's so much art being created right now reflecting the struggles that people are dealing with, and I personally find it refreshing right now to consume art that acknowledges those challenges but is also optimistic. And so I'm grateful that we are going to be putting out that sort of message with this project. Each song is about a struggle that to varying degrees, and each song could just sit in that struggle, but it sort of ends with a like, I see the struggle, I'm facing it. I'm not saying that everything's all good, but I am saying that I trust that I can figure this out. I'm just really happy to be putting out that message at this time.
Oh, that's really sweet. Plus, I was gonna make a joke here too, is because the positive vibes of this album or EP was so strong that my response after you guys let me listen to it was all caps, damn, that EP is stellar. So I just want people to understand how good this record is, how good it makes people feel, and you must go check out Couch and their new EP, Couch. So thank you very much, guys, for sitting down with me and chatting about your new music. Hoping you guys all the best with whatever comes next for you guys. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tell me what you think.